Because we would even read a book by Joe about 16th century basket making, this is MuggleCast episode 250 for March 2nd, 2012. This week's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals. For a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/MuggleCast. Well, for the 250th time, welcome to MuggleCast. It is a landmark episode.
250.
A landmark podcast.
250.
It's a huge, momentous occasion. And here to celebrate with us is Ben Shane.
250.
Returning after a long while. He's feeling very, nostalgic. He's wearing his MuggleCast 2006 Lumos shirt.
Yeah, just for the show, man.
The gray one?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was really touched, and then I realized his whole wardrobe is MuggleCast shirts.
Does it still fit
Yeah,
you?
that's all I wear. Yeah, it still fits me. What are you trying to say? What's the situation?
No, I'm just saying you're a little bit older now, though. You grew a little taller since then.
Yeah, it has been 6 years.
Yeah.
It's a while.
Well, whereas I used to fill it, now I fill it out with, solid, lean body mass.
Right. check out Ben's body on twitter.com/Ben
body. It's a new Twitter account.
I do not want to see that. Anyway, Micah, Erica, are here. We were also supposed to have one other host, but this person...
She bailed.
Yeah.
She bailed.
I wasn't even going to reveal the gender, but...
Well, that automatically
okay.
narrows it down to one person.
Yes, Laura.
It's very narrow.
Laura is in Costa Rica. There's time confusion. That may have been what's happening, but we'll get her on a different.
There's also
episode.
a language barrier. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Costa
Yeah.
Rica,
She said she emailed me last night. She was like, I'm going to be speaking Spanish the whole time. I'm like, no, you're not.
we tried to call in some translators and all that, but
that's what I said to her. I said we'd have a translator on the show.
In time.
Yeah, so we had differences we couldn't sort out, so that's why.
Although also we should clarify about the redhead that we promised last episode.
Yes.
Ben, you've dyed your hair red recently?
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Because it brings out your Irish heritage.
So that's
and
the
Eric
surprise
shaved
guest.
his head lately.
You're Ben O'Shane. Is that
Ben
you?
O'Shano.
Well, yeah, so congrats everybody on 250 episodes, especially you, Ben. You've been tirelessly working through all the
episodes.
I know.
For the record, for some of those new listeners, if you go way back in the day, I used to be on this show quite a lot.
Yeah, you did.
And I used to be a big contributor to the show.
So what happened?
I don't know, man.
Well, Ben, you're still a big contributor to
I got a little bit pottered out, over the years, but, I'm here. I still like to come on the show. I like to talk about Harry Potter. I love podcasting with you guys.
Of course.
We've been doing this for years. 250 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll make it to 500, bro?
I don't know. That's hard to say. Unless we turn the podcast into something greater. Because J.K. Rowling has a new book. Before we continue with today's news, and there is a lot of it, we'd like to remind you that today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. It's the internet's leading provider of audiobooks with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature and featuring audio versions of many New York Times bestsellers. For listeners of this podcast, Audible is offering you a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out their great service. One audiobook to consider, and we know this is going to appeal to a lot of you, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This book is fantastic. It's a tearjerker. You will laugh, you will cry, you will love it. Insightful, bold, irreverent, and raw, The Fault in Our Stars is award-winning author John Green's most ambitious and heartbreaking work yet, brilliantly exploring the funny, thrilling, and tragic business of being alive and in love. To get The Fault in Our Stars by John Green or any other book on Audible for free, visit audiblepodcast.com/MuggleCast. And that leads us into the news this week.
Andrew, what's in the news this week?
Well, Micah, J.K. Rowling announced a new book. evidently, if we are to believe the giant graphic that was on her agent's website, we are to believe it's called The New Book, which was very insulting to everybody who saw it.
Insulting.
Well, insulting in that, like, it's like, I don't know, was it a joke? Like, what did this, why have a graphic that says The New Book?
The New Book by J.K. Rowling. They just wanted something to, like, already it's got, like, feet, marketing feet, and already it's walking away, you know, like, running around the world selling itself.
As right now, as The New Book. You know, yeah, when I first heard this news, when I heard the amount of information that was released, the first thing that popped into my head was, oh, here we go again, J.K. Rowling with her, you know,
secrecy.
Her a little bit at a time. Let's give them a little bit of information at a time. You know, we'll get them up at 4 a.m. to tell them that we're going to release something in 9 months, you know, with Pottermore. Yeah. So, I mean, this is, but she has the right to do that.
She can do it, yeah.
And she has she's not, you know, some no-name nobody. I don't think Stephanie Meyer could pull this off.
Oh, whoa. I don't know. I mean, well, let's go through it. So,
yeah, so what
started,
news
it
is
started,
there, like?
It started very early in the morning. The Blair Partnership, which is her new, the new company she's represented by, used to be, Christopher Little. She left Christopher Little. Little drama there, I think, but we don't know the details. Anyway, the Blair Partnership, and they updated their website, which read, "We are pleased to announce that our client, J.K. Rowling, will be releasing a new novel for adults. Further details will be announced later in the year. The Blair Partnership is a literary agency. We are in the business of taking care of authors, their talent, their careers, and their success."
What accent is that?
It's a mix of nonsense.
It was like
it's not good.
Scandinavian, half
Scottish,
Borat.
Australian.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. So yeah, the Blair Partnership announced this. Like I said, there was the graphic that said The New Book.
Is that like the New Testament?
Yeah, that's a good one, Mike. I like that.
So Harry Potter's now the Old Testament, huh? Great. More religious comparisons.
And this book isn't going to be published by Scholastic.
Right. It's the
or
new
Bloomsbury.
Right. The new publisher is Little Brown, who published the Twilight books. So
interesting.
That's the last thing we need is a Twilight-esque cover for the new J.K. Rowling book.
Oh yeah, these Twilight publishers
high contrast,
are just going to screw it all up.
No. I mean, just high contrast, one object. Those publishers make those kinds of decisions, and I don't know.
And J.K. Rowling's official statement was, "Although I've enjoyed writing it every bit as much, my next book will be very different to the Harry Potter series, which has been published so brilliantly by Bloomsbury and my other publishers around the world. The freedom to explore new territory is a gift that Harry's success has brought me. And with that new territory, it seemed a logical progression to have a new publisher. I'm delighted to have a second publishing home in Little Brown and a publishing team that will be a great partner in this new phase of my writing life."
Yeah, she's like, Scholastic, I've made you rich enough. I'm going to make somebody else rich. You know, in general, with like the expectations for this, you know, people, I mean, obviously, commercially, whatever this book is, the fact that it has her name on it is it's going to sell a bazillion copies, and people are going to line up at the bookstores. People are going to be stoked for it. Now, but in terms of what to expect, isn't it kind of like the equivalent of, you know, if Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, was to make a new tech project in the future, asking it if we would expect that to have as big of an impact as Facebook? Isn't that like kind of the same thing with J.K. Rowling's new book? Like, to me, it almost seems like we're going to be disappointed. There's no way we're not going to be disappointed, given, you know, just what we've come to expect from J.K. Rowling.
I'm surprised. So it's been 5 years, as you know, since the publication of the 7th Harry Potter book. I'm surprised that the announcement that came wasn't, "Oh yeah, by the way, I wrote this book. It's been published for over a year, and it's this book that she wrote, you know, under a pen name or something." Because J.K. Rowling doesn't seem to have that problem where, you know, if she were to write a new book, she couldn't be secret about it, and it may get this, you know, not unjust attention, but it may get attention, you know, based on other merits.
Right.
You know, I think we're all very interested in seeing what the next book she writes, just because it's her.
See, the problem that I have with that is, and I guess I understand why authors do it, but she's already established herself. You know, she took the chance, she wrote Harry Potter, it became this tremendous success. Why would you want to write under any other name moving forward?
Right. Well, really, it's just for the crowd control aspect of it, I think. I mean,
to avoid that pressure of the Harry Potter.
Not only the
Harry
pressure,
Potter
but
connection.
people. I mean, I don't know, why did Stephen King do it? You know, he wrote as Richard Bachman for a couple, and I don't think the reasons are that great, because ultimately you got to stand by who you are. You know, I think public image or not public image, and so J.K. Rowling isn't writing under an alias. You know, her announcement was that there's a new book from her coming out, so that's good.
And I think she could do that in the future, right, under a pen name, but not for her first post-Potter project. I think it's too soon.
Well, I mean, particularly from a commercial standpoint, you know.
Yeah,
this is going to be, you know, particularly if this book isn't that great or something, you know, this is going to be the most successful post-Potter work that she does.
Yeah. And you know, Little Brown, whatever publisher was going to win the rights to this, they wanted to say, this is J.K. Rowling's first Potter project, because it's going to sell like crazy. But I admit that it's going to be hard for me to pick up this book and read it and be like, I want to read more fantasy from J.K. Rowling. So I would be disappointed if I'm reading it and, you know, there isn't any sort of magic or fantasy, anything in fantasy. I just want something related to fantasy.
So this is my main question, and I think a lot of topics about this could be a main discussion, you know, for a show. But my question is, what does it mean? You know, there's two little words in this press release from Little Brown, and it says, you know, our client, J.K. Rowling, will be releasing a new novel for adults. What does that mean for adults?
It means
there's more adult-appropriate material.
Oh, okay, more adult. Does this mean sex? Does this mean drug use? Does this mean lesser themes? Does it mean it won't be a fantasy? Does it mean, you know, what is that? What can we make of releasing a new novel for adults?
I think for adults, I would say, you know, books like Twilight, Harry Potter,
but Twilight is young adult.
Those are young adults.
We have to be specific young adults.
No, that's what I'm saying is that, you know, whereas those books are for young adults, whereas what's the name of that guy who did Game of Thrones? H.R.R.Z.Y. J.R.R.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay, yeah, George R.R. Martin. Yeah, Game of Thrones. Those books are for, you know, adults. When I would say, I would expect to see a higher level of writing from J.K. Rowling if she's saying this book is for adults. Would you guys agree?
I would agree.
Well, a higher level of writing or just more adult characters?
I would say a higher level of writing. Well, I mean, a more sophisticated
because I mean, she improved her writing technique like through every Harry Potter book. Like, there's no.
Yeah, but they're still written for young adults.
Essentially,
the narrator would be different. If you were to go read a George R.R. Martin book, it's going to be more complex and, you know, not as easily readable to a young adult as it would be to an adult.
But I think part of J.K. Rowling's appeal was how readable her writing was for everybody to begin with. Which is why, do you think, like, this writing, the books, are you saying the books will be written in a more a less accessible way, where it's just kind of confusing, or that it drolls on?
Not confusing, or that it drolls on, or that it'd be less interesting. I would just say that it's going to not be as light. In short, I think it's not going to be as marketable to children. It's not going to be topics or themes that you could sell to a kid and a kid's going to be interested in.
But the other thing to realize,
the good news is that her audience is grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that
I knew it, Micah, so I stole it.
Yeah, you stole it. You just ripped it right out of my hands. No, I agree with what you're saying. I think that the audience is older now, and they are more easily able to understand adult themes. And not to say that kids can or young adults can't, but I think she probably has a lot more freedom, too, in writing this book, where maybe she was a bit more restricted with Potter in terms of the kind of things that she could put in there.
Though you can also bring up the point that the Harry Potter books were very long, and by most standards, you do not write long books for children, and that's one of the reasons why. I mean, they've always never been considered children's books, at least the last few.
By the people reading them, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there have been some clues suggesting what J.K. Rowling will be writing, and it seems it could be in the mystery/crime drama. The Guardian rounded up a few details about why they think it could be thriller/crime. For one, the editor at Little Brown that she is working with, he is David Shelley, a man who counts Dennis Lane, Val McDermott, Carl Heinsohn, and Mark Billingham amongst his authors, and who comes from a background steeped in crime and thriller writing. And now he's going to be editing J.K. Rowling's book. He's also reportedly brought out the best in various thriller writers: Panic by Jeff Abbott, The Shakespeare Secret by J.L. Correll, The Brutal Art by Jesse Kellerman. He's taken over editing for major brand name authors, including Billingham, Nelson, DeMille, and Duncan Falconer.
Oh, Nelson DeMille. Interesting.
What did he write?
He writes a lot of those types of books. I have a lot of them, actually.
Okay.
Like
and
thrillers.
Ian Rankin, a known neighbor of J.K. Rowling, jokingly tweeted that, wouldn't it be funny if J.K. Rowling's first novel for adults turned out to be a crime story set in Edinburgh? My word, yes.
Law and Order.
Neighbors, and he's a crime writer. So those were some hints, but again, none of this is confirmation. I would say that's a good guess, though.
And she said there's more information to come later this year, right?
Yes, and
that's hang on. Did she tweet this?
No, the Blair partnership said more information to come later this year, and then J.K. Rowling later in the day tweeted herself that the book will be out later this year, and that was
really,
and that was the first confirmation that it was actually going to come out this year.
Oh, damn!
So later this year.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, it is.
That's really exciting because I mean that'll be like the first fiction novel I've read since Harry Potter.
You mean you haven't read The Hunger Games yet?
I haven't read The Hunger Games. I know I'm going to get
neither have I.
massacred, but
Ben, we should read it together.
I'm open to reading The Hunger Games. I don't think they're going to make this a series.
Really? Now, see, that disappoints me. I would love another J.K. Rowling series.
Well, I mean, I think if she's going to make it a series, like she's going to come out front and say this will be a trilogy. I don't think she would do more than a trilogy because she's not going to want to mess around with another 7 books. Yeah, right. The pressure of producing another novel. Maybe she just wants to write a standalone story and do it all in one go this time.
I'm sure she'll do that at some point, if not right now.
Yeah, a standalone story. I'd like to see that from her.
Joining us now is Laura. Hello, Laura. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. You got out of class late, I understand.
Yeah, I'm a really mean teacher. I kept my students late.
Can you believe this? Laura Thompson, now a teacher.
Hola, Laura.
You kept them till 9 o'clock at night?
Hola, Laura. ¿Cómo
It's
estás?
An hour behind you, actually.
8 o'clock at night?
So, yeah, well, the class goes until like 7:45, and it wasn't really my fault. They were asking questions, so they were kind of the ones who held me up. I teach elementary and college, actually. So, yeah.
It's all grouped together down there.
In Costa Rica. Laura is in Costa Rica.
You stay in your bungalow?
I don't live in a bungalow, Mike. I live in a mud hut. I would expect you to know this by now.
Anyway, but seriously, Laura, so you're in Costa Rica now. What motivated you to move down there and teach? I mean, that's a wonderful thing.
Well, you remember, Andrew, I came down here to study abroad 2 years ago. And that's why, it's kind of why I stopped being on MuggleCast, partly because at the time I had no internet. And I just loved it here so much that I wanted to come back. And really, if you're a native English speaker, the only kind of job you can get here is teaching. So that's how it happened.
So what do you think of J.K. Rowling's new book announcement? Does this excite you?
Have you heard about it?
No, I mean, we don't get news down here. I mean, the fact that I have internet is just absolutely amazing.
It comes by sparrow, right? Little sparrows delivering the news.
No, by toucan.
Rolling.
We don't have sparrows down here.
Well, you just said you brought internet to Costa Rica.
So what do you and the toucan think of J.K. Rowling's new book?
We're pretty freaking excited. We don't know that much about it unless you guys have gotten some news that we haven't gotten down here, but there was...
It's coming out later this year, Laura. Did you know that?
Yes.
Duh, Ben.
Well, I didn't know. She said she didn't have much news about it, so I was making sure she had the details.
There really isn't, though, is there? It's coming out this year, and it's an adult novel now.
Yeah, yet we find a way to spend a half hour talking about it. How awesome are we?
Because
Micah thinks it's going to be a contender for the New Testament. Actually,
really,
is what he said earlier.
Because it's called the new book. On the
well,
Blair
I have a
Partnership's
question.
website.
I mean, has there been any discussion about what kind of genre we're talking about, or have you guys already spent 8 million years?
Yeah, a little bit. It's rumored to be a crime/thriller based on evidence that her editor at Little Brown has a ton of experience in the crime and thriller genre. So, rumor has it that fact alone is playing a big hint as to what the genre will be.
What if it flops?
That's completely possible. That's completely possible.
Is it really?
Well,
yes.
How?
I mean, I guess I think it can flop from the standpoint of the New York Times, the LA Times, the major newspapers and publications doing negative reviews about it and saying that, J.K. Rowling's new work is a miss. But it's definitely not going to flop from a commercial standpoint. And in terms of the way the fans view it, I think the fans are going to love it. Like, I think she could, scribble on a piece of paper and call it her new novel. And most fans would love it because there's such a great affinity for J.K. Rowling.
She could put out a book about 15th century basket weaving and everybody would just
I would be all over that shit. I'd have BasketCast. I'd be hosting that podcast. Talking about it. I'm talking.
Eric is a basket case.
Yeah. No.
That would be perfect. You should host
I
that
would love, because I would feel educated because J.K. Rowling has that authority over me. I look to her to learn new things. But I'm saying, the way they're already, and we talked about this earlier, Laura, is they're already marketing this book, such as with that image that accompanied the news article, which is, the new book by J.K. Rowling. It's already this huge shroud of mystery and marketing, and no doubt we were even talking about this, the new, publishing company is going to market this book as the next book by J.K. Rowling, following Post Potter after a 7-year series. This is the next book by Harry Potter. So I really don't think they're going to let it fail in any way. Financially, never. But I think what it'll come down to is whether or not fans or people who've read Harry Potter, read us, the ones who are now adults, whether or not we like the story.
So, I mean, there's so much to look forward to over the next few months. We have the title, we have, summaries, we have covers.
Can I throw this out there? What do you think will happen first? Pottermore open to the public or the book be released?
I think they're just going to shut down Pottermore and get to work on the next interactive website for this new book.
Oh, God.
I mean, how bad, just as an aside, how bad must these people feel that, have been waiting now since October? Was that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, J.K. Rowling's probably whole grand plan was to get Pottermore out of the way and move on to the new
forward,
book.
And she couldn't do that. Yeah. Well, we'll hear from some disgruntled Pottermoreites later in the show.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to midnight release parties. I'm looking forward to. I mean, we could easily turn Muggle. If this book is a 3-part series, we could easily turn MuggleCast into a joint like Harry Potter and new book podcast.
Yeah.
Or if it's just one book, we're gonna have a whole episode dedicated to reviewing it
for sure.
We could go chapter by chapter.
Yeah, and also I would like
to go word by word.
Yeah,
on the new book.
I'd also like to announce new BookCon 2015. And this is going to be a conference dedicated. Forget Harry Potter. That was so 2012. New BookCon 15 will feature lots of literary discussions, podcasts, and orgies, all focused on the new book from J.K. Rowling.
Is that going to be at
the right word?
Oh, yes.
Is that going to be at the new book theme park in Orlando?
But, speaking of that kind of thing, there's definitely going to be a TV show or movie based around it. No doubt. A studio is already clamoring to get the rights for the movie.
I was going to say, if it's a crime drama or if it's something like that, that would definitely be adapted into 100 other formats.
I would say David Heyman probably has first dibs, though.
Yeah, I would think so.
Although J.K. Rowling is not going with the, Bloomsbury or Scholastic, and those are, relationships she's built.
But she's already made them enough money.
Well, can't the same be said about David Heyman? Warner Brothers.
That's true.
Sources have confirmed that David Heyman and J.K. Rowling were being a little flirtatious at an after party.
Really?
Last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
So David Heyman's a player to get those scripts.
The movie rights. Sure, that sounds like the David Heyman we all know. Mm-hmm.
Well, this news pushed J.K. Rowling over 1 million followers on Twitter. One of which is not Micah Tannenbaum, as we remember on MuggleCast episode 249. Micah was so upset at J.K. Rowling's lack of
unfollowed her.
Can you believe that?
Yeah. See, but
why would you
that
bother though? I only unfollow people who spam my Twitter feed.
Right. Micah did it for the opposite.
J.K. Rowling did the opposite. Laura, to you, J.K. Rowling is like, Laura, J.K. Rowling's like the agreeable neighbor, right? Or the agreeable tenant. Never hear a peep from him, always turns in the rent on time.
Was that a part of that segment Micah used to do called What's Bugging Micah? Does he still do that?
It wasn't explicitly a What's Bugging Micah, but on the last episode or 2 episodes ago, he voiced his concern and he unfollowed her because, I mean, he's right. She doesn't tweet anything interesting, so why bother following her?
That's true.
And then look what happened.
I think she
A
did
week
this to
later,
spite you.
she announces that she's got a new book.
Yeah. Some people in the Hypable comments speculated that she did it just for you, so.
Yeah, well, and no,
lucky.
I'm not going to start following her again because, as I said on the last episode, when she makes these types of announcements, they tend to,
Appear
get
elsewhere.
picked up by media outlets and even reach, far away places like Laura lives, where toucans have to deliver the mail.
New book! Also on the same day, moving on from the new book, Bloomsbury announced via an interview with the Associated Press that they are going to re-release the Harry Potter books in illustrated
Illustrated
What?
by whom?
The heck does that mean?
Well, a picture book, I think.
A Harry Potter picture book.
And it was kind of confusing at first. It wasn't exactly clear the way the article was written, whether it was Scholastic or Bloomsbury, but it is Bloomsbury re-releasing in illustrated format. And so I'm just picturing and I hate to make a comparison, but the Twilight books, at least the first one, has the graphic novels.
Yeah,
it's
graphic novel adaptations, yeah.
2-part graphic novel. And
Is
you
it
know
graphic?
what? They look really, no, they're visual. And you know what? They look really
That's what I
good.
mean.
It's
Are they graphic pictures?
It's a certain, no.
That's breaking dawn.
It's a certain type of art style. I'm sorry to say I don't know what it is, but I read through one and it's really nice. I mean, it's a cool way to
look through it.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I'm right. I looked through it. It's like reading an audiobook. You don't read an audiobook.
Yeah, that pisses me off when people say that.
That they
Oh,
read graphic novels, yeah, it's annoying.
Or audiobooks.
Yeah, people are like, yeah, I read this book. And it's like, no, you didn't. You just told me you listened to it on your drive. That's not reading a book.
That's a discussion for another day, but I think you basically comprehend this information the same way.
In a similar way.
Yeah, it is different though. You're right. So what do you guys think? I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but illustrated format, this is very clearly for kids, but
Yeah, it says a picture. You know the adage, a picture's worth 1,000 words. The Harry Potter books actually have thousands of words in them. So I just wonder how they're going to be constantly playing to condense the Harry Potter books into something that's a little bit small. Like, will the illustrated books be smaller than the actual Harry Potter books? Or will they
you
be
would think
larger
so.
than that?
I would imagine
that's
so.
Right? Otherwise, it's just like an insane task. But will plot threads be cut
I
in the same way that they do it in the movies?
I kind of wonder how Jo must feel about this, because she was so adamant about being really careful with the art on Pottermore so as not to destroy people's images of what things looked like when they were reading the books. Like, you couldn't see.
The movie hadn't already done that.
Well, true, but
Pottermore is to serve as a companion to the books as you read. So
I
this is
good
like
point,
just,
Laura.
I just kind of wonder if she must really be on board with this. I mean, in the end, it's just more money in her pocket. So I'm sure she's
Maybe
not
it's
crying
actually-
about that. But
maybe it's all the images that were going to go on Pottermore are now being put into a book, and they're moving on.
except it's going to be it's going to be Japanese anime style. That's the other thing. If they make it into a graphic novel.
it's kind of what it has to be. Well, I am looking forward to looking at it. I mean, maybe J.K. Rowling will have some new information in these visuals. You would think, because if you're looking at all these visual scenes, wouldn't new information be revealed? How Potter fans always like to tear stuff apart. So they're going to be like, oh, look, the crown molding is painted gold in the Gryffindor common room. I never knew this before. Somebody quick, add it to the lexicon.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking in the scene where Professor Trelawney has her first prediction. You know, it may be painted in the background. Listening in at the door will be Snape. You know, it'll be a little spoiler for people who are like 30 pages behind.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
So details are scarce. Supposed to be released from 20.
Did you say scarce?
Scarce. Sorry. Hey, guess what, guys? 250 episodes. Nothing's changed. I'm still pronouncing words wrong.
That's comforting, actually. You're my anchor, Andrew.
Yeah, I am your constant. I am your constant in your science experiment.
Dude,
of
that's
life.
amazing.
So
That's also
the official statement from Bloomsbury is: we are pleased to announce that as part of our long-term strategy for Harry Potter, we intend to publish illustrated editions of all 7 Harry Potter books in a rolling program from 2013 onwards.
Their long-term strategy. milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah.
Long time.
So 2013 is still a long way off for the first one. I would suspect the new books will be coming out every 6 to 12 months.
In the zone where they're going to start doing anniversary editions and special ultimate, kind of like what they did with the films, and they're just going to try and keep doing this for as long as they possibly can, you know, tweaking, even if it's one little thing.
Yep.
So that people are going to keep buying.
You'll remember that Scholastic tried to start releasing anniversary editions, 10th anniversary editions of each of the books. They did one, and then they didn't do any others, and it kind of flopped. They admitted, yeah, we're not gonna do it anymore. So they only
isn't
did
that
one.
what they did with the Ultimate Edition DVDs?
Well, yeah, I mean they have all but 2 left. I think they're still gonna come out.
Okay.
They have to. That'd be cruel.
The
if they
one
didn't.
other thing I was going to ask, I don't think we talked about this, but with this new book that's coming out from J.K. Rowling, one of the things that she talked about in the past was that, you know, most of her work moving forward was going to be for charity. Was there any notes about that in what was released?
I can't see this being for charity.
A crime
I can
book
see
for
more
charity?
Harry Potter work being for charity, but not this.
If it turns out that her new crime drama isn't for charity, I wouldn't hold her to that word where she said that, because I took it to mean the same thing, that future Harry Potter work would be for charity.
Yeah, and she's proven that already. She's done that multiple times with various Harry Potter things. I think Beetle the Bard was one of them most recently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez.
So moving on to some movie news now. It was a very shocking weekend. I'm still shaking from the news. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 did not win at the Oscars, which means that over the entire franchise, it did not win one Academy Award, Hollywood's most prestigious award. It was nominated in Art Direction, which went to Hugo, Makeup, which went to the Iron Lady, and Visual Effects, which went to Hugo.
You live there, Andrew. Go put a flaming bag of dog, you know what, on there.
On the Academy's doorstep.
Yeah, and why don't we record that we're going to do that and we release it publicly? Yeah.
That's even better.
It would be funny.
Videotape
We'll
it.
burn
on
down their
YouTube.
houses.
I'd rather not get arrested. I don't know. That doesn't seem worth it just for some
get
YouTube
arrested.
viral video. Okay. Then I'll go do it right now.
While we're here,
So,
we got time.
you know, we don't need to rehash all this Oscar talk, but we did do a lot of talking last week, or last episode, about what could have won an Oscar, and our opinions were mixed. A lot of people said no. A lot of fans said no. It didn't have a chance. And they were right.
Mikey said it on the last episode, too, that he really didn't think that they had a chance. And I still would like to see them do something. I guess it would have to be next year at this point, where they just honor the series, because I think to not honor a series that's been the highest grossing ever, it doesn't make any sense.
It's rude.
Well, I mean, I guess that's part of the reason. I mean, for some people who are film snobs, they probably don't see too much of a difference between Harry Potter and Twilight. In a lot of ways. I mean, they probably see Harry Potter and Twilight as being a lot closer together than, you know, Harry Potter fans would probably be comfortable with admitting.
Yeah.
In terms of just being a commercial type of deal, you know, films made to make money as opposed to being, you know, actual.
Truly artistic masterpieces.
And you know, and these are books, you know, these are written as books, so they are adaptations, and going from a book to the screen, you're not going to, you know, if these were made for the silver screen initially, you know, it could be a different story, I think.
Were you guys genuinely surprised that it didn't win anything?
No.
Okay.
I had my finger. I pre-wrote tweets saying it did not win this award. It did not win this award. Like I had my finger on the trigger as soon as it was announced because it was kind of predictable. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I was just, I guess overall I'm surprised that it didn't win. I thought it had a chance in those specific categories. I guess I'm just most surprised that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. Even if it didn't have a chance of winning it, I'm surprised that they went with sort of the 9 results instead of the 10.
The thing is I go back to if it would have won an award or 2 awards this time around, does that really kind of make you feel any better?
No.
Knowing that it hadn't won anything prior to that. It doesn't really justify anything. If anything, people would say, well, they won the award because they haven't been recognized for the past 7 films.
That's
true. Can you imagine the one award they get being makeup?
Yeah, that would have been so lame. And here's another little factoid. The average Academy voter, these are the people who nominate and vote, the average one is a 62-year-old white male. And people cry foul over this because it's basically a bunch of older white men voting for the best pictures of the year.
God.
And then we get the same predictable results every single year.
It's like the government.
You do realize... exactly right.
Except for the president.
You realize the Academy is pretty much like the people who are like the big names in the industry, people who have been around in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, they know their stuff, but...
Right.
Who are these people to decide? Because it was very predictable that The Artist was going to win because it won all these other awards leading up to the Academy Awards, and it's artsy.
Well, the thing about it is these are art awards, and it's kind of like, I think I gave this comparison to you once on we were talking about this on Instant Messenger or something. Somebody who is a wine expert, a sommelier or whatever, when they drink wine, they analyze it, their brain analyzes it a different way than the average, commercial wine drinker. They're looking for something that tastes good.
The box wine drinker.
Yeah. So Harry Potter's it's like boxed wine. It's like Arbor Mist. It tastes good to everybody. It's a good story. It's a good, solid film. But to the person who is looking for, is judging the films off a completely different set of criteria than you or I, that, what makes good film per se, there's a lot more that these guys know than any of us could ever really use to judge the film.
I have to be honest, and this is not going to be a popular opinion. I think part of the problem is that they were not gearing the making of these films towards winning any kind of award like this until the very end. You know what I mean? They didn't start doing the Oscar push until the last movie. And I feel like there are a lot of weak points in these movies, particularly 1, 2, and parts of 4 that were not that good. And I think a lot of times when people think of Harry Potter, they're not just thinking of the one movie that most recently came out. They're thinking about it as a collective whole. And so they're thinking, well, Deathly Hallows Part 2 was really good, but man, the second movie sucked. So I think that's part of the problem too.
Yeah. But, these Oscar voters, you would think they're only thinking about one film, though. If they are this experienced, they should be only taking one into consideration. But let me give you another...
Hugo should have won. Do you see the special effects in Hugo?
I found Hugo to be ordinary, not exceptional. I thought visually very pleasing, good acting, and great, effects. But as a movie, the plot didn't really excite me.
I rented it. I have it coming in on Netflix. I'm really excited to watch it because it did get so many good reviews. But here's another factoid. Out of the top 5 franchises ever, which are Star Wars, James Bond, Harry Potter, Shrek, and Batman, only Harry Potter has not won an Oscar. George Lucas's Star Wars movies won 8 Oscars. The James Bond adventures have picked up 2. The Batman iterations to date owned 3 wins, including a Best Supporting Actor trophy for Heath Ledger. And the Shrek franchise received a animated feature award.
But there have been 22 Bond films, and for them to have only won 2 Oscars...
Well, yeah, and those films aren't Oscar-worthy. Come on, I mean...
You're saying they're pulp.
Yeah, and I'm saying... But again, like Harry Potter, I wasn't necessarily looking for a Best Picture one for Harry Potter. I was looking for Best Makeup. I mean, the amount of work that does go into these films is incredible.
And talking about the Oscars again, that intro video where they announced the nominees, or not announced the nominees, but where they went back over the nominees at the actual Oscars. The video, short video segment that they have prior to every video being announced. I thought Harry Potter actually through those previews, Potter had the best one. I think it was Jason Isaacs was talking about.
He was really pumping it up.
Yeah, really pumping it up. But I thought that was the moment when I thought that Harry Potter had a chance at the Oscars, was when I saw that specific lead-in video right before they made the final announcement. Of course, Harry didn't win. But, with the makeup, I thought makeup was probably their best chance, simply because they had that line about goblins, and you're up against making, Glenn Close look like a boy, or,
yeah, but that's been done before, haven't they?
Meryl Streep look like, or Meryl Streep.
She does look like a man.
Making her look like,
it's not that hard.
The
Margaret
Queen.
Thatcher?
So, yes. So
No.
I really still don't understand necessarily why Harry Potter.
But what about? I mean, I saw a really cool graphic that somebody posted on Facebook. Think about how much it takes to transform Ralph Fiennes into Voldemort.
Yeah, this is.
They gotta take his nose every time you see him, and he doesn't have a nose. That's makeup or CGI.
Well, to wrap this up, there's a YouTube channel called HowItShouldHaveEnded.com. Well, it's probably a website, but they also have these videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they did Harry Potter and the Best Picture summary, and it's Snape, Dumbledore, Harry, and Voldemort all discussing why they weren't nominated for Best Picture, and it's very funny, so we'll just play it.
Professor, did you hear the news?
News, you say?
We aren't nominated for Best Picture.
What? That's outrageous. Who would do such a thing?
I'll tell you who. Someone that looks just like me except covered in gold. That's who. What, I'm not allowed to be upset about this?
Best director?
Nope.
Best actor?
Nope.
Actress?
Are you serious?
Cinematography?
Nope.
Editing?
No.
Not even music?
No.
WTF, you guys! We made 8 movies!
Was it because of the scene at the end when you kids were grown up? Because I told you that scene should have only been in the extended Blu-ray version. Hello, everyone.
Professor Snape, did you hear about the nominations?
Yes, and I am appalled. I kept this serious look on my face for over 10 years, and George Clooney walks down the beach for 2 hours, and suddenly everyone wets their pants.
We had a beach in our movie. I held an elf in my arms on the beach as he died.
I cried during that scene.
Thank you.
Exactly. We have everything those movies have.
Totally have everything.
Hugo, a boy in a train station. I wonder where we've seen that before. Extremely loud and incredibly close. A boy who loses his father.
I lost both my parents.
Moneyball, sports. We have Quidditch.
Yes, but Quidditch is kind of stupid.
Midnight in Paris. Time travel.
Duh, we did that years ago.
The Help. Racism.
We force elves to be our servants.
The Tree of Life. Did anyone even see that movie?
No.
I hated the Tree of
I've never
Life.
even heard of that movie.
War Horse.
We have war.
And flying horses.
The Artist.
Oh, I actually really like that.
Oh,
movie.
yes, he's right. actually.
Wonderful,
That is a very
wonderful.
good
I enjoyed it tremendously.
To be honest, it probably should win.
I totally agree. I'm sorry, so what is the deal?
Our movie actually made money. That's what the deal is.
Well, so sorry we're a massive success like The Lord of the Rings.
Or Titanic.
Sorry, everyone loves us.
Sorry we influenced an entire generation.
Sorry we made 8 movies that people will watch more than once.
So sorry that our last film alone made more money at the box office than all of the nominees combined.
I believe this is what Muggles call horse poop.
Everyone, we've been nominated for 3 awards. Isn't that exciting? Art direction, makeup, and visual effects.
Nobody cares. Big surprise there.
We win that one with our eyes closed.
So there we go. That said it very nicely, and it resonated very much with fans.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was funny.
it's pretty good, pretty well done.
Comparing Hal's elves to racism in the help. What?
Well, that was the goal, wasn't it? Really? I mean, talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely themes of racism in the books. We've talked about that on the show before.
I think they were kidding.
Mudblood.
Yeah, I think they were kidding too.
Well, as a consolation, Harry Potter picked up 10 Saturn Awards.
I don't know what the second part of that note is. At the top.
I don't know the second part of that note either. But
so it did win. It was nominated for 10 Saturn Awards, but honestly, who cares about that?
Well, the Saturn Awards,
is that a special Saturn Award?
That we're talking about the Google Doc. Somebody graffitied it.
Yes.
No, the Saturn Awards. I didn't even really know about these. I recall hearing about the name, but it's in June, and they've been nominated for 10, same amount as Hugo, and so Potter does have a chance of winning this. But it's specifically for sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. So.
I'm over it. I don't care about Harry Potter and awards anymore.
That's
they
okay.
lost the Oscars. Who cares?
We'll find out in June. You know. So.
Okay. Well, in some impressive news, just a quick update on the Harry Potter theme park expansions. There's been a lot going on. We know that they're building a Wizarding World in Los Angeles. They're building an expansion in Orlando. The expansion in Orlando is going to be taking place in the other park, not in Islands of Adventure. So you're going to need 2 tickets for the full experience, baby. And how are you going to get
Oh,
tickets?
come on. They got to
right.
work something out there.
Oh no,
And,
they're not going to.
And how are you going to get to those 2 parks? How else? The Hogwarts Express. And there's been a little new information about that. It is going to be cutting through the back of Universal. You're going to be going through a tunnel, basically, on a train, and there's going to be video screens all surrounding you, and it's going to be like you're making that journey from Diagon Alley to the Wizarding World and vice versa. So,
well, nothing says English countryside like Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, it should be interesting how they create that experience. But no other information has been revealed. Hopefully soon. I mean, they're already working on it. They've already been knocking out Jaws, which is where this new Harry Potter park is going to be built. It should be fantastic.
You're in Jaws?
Yeah, it's closed about a month or 2 ago. Yeah, sorry. It was a good ride. It was a classic. When Pottermore does open, they are going to be distributing ebooks through public and school libraries. But this was an announcement made in association with Overdrive. So this is great. And now this seems so odd to me, and I wouldn't like doing this at all, but in libraries these days, you can bring your ebook in and rent a book and then exit the library, and then you'll have it on your ebook reader.
That's so new age to me.
It doesn't seem right. Like, if I go to a library, I want to pick up a physical book. That's why I'm there. Like,
yeah, otherwise I'd just
whatever,
be on the
dude.
iTunes
You have a
store at
Kindle,
home.
an iPad.
I lost my Kindle.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How did you
If
lose
anybody's
your
found
Kindle?
it, by the way, because it's so small and lightweight and amazing that it just floated
Wow.
away.
So amazing
Yeah.
that you forgot
I
it
hope
somewhere.
somebody who needs a Kindle found it and won't return it to you.
How can you need a Kindle? Explain to me.
Ask Andrew.
How can you need something like that?
You want to save paper. You want to save the trees, baby. I'm green. You should be too. You're surrounded by them in Costa Rica.
We don't have paper.
This episode's offending somebody. But these
As always.
ebooks, we don't know when they're going to be announced, or they're going to be available. Apparently, when the ebook store opens up on Pottermore, but when's that going to be?
So, Laura, what do you use if you don't use paper? Do you guys just like write messages in the sand to each other?
No, I mean, we've got a lot of banana leaves, so we use those.
In related Pottermore news, they reinforced that they do not have an opening date in the immediate future, and this came after a Guardian writer contacted Pottermore and found this out. So, not good.
It's just
Thank God
gotten
for
to
the
that
Guardian.
point now. I mean, I feel like I'm the spokesperson for this, but people were looking forward to it. That's my only thing, and people who have been looking forward to it for a long time,
Oh, whatever. I'll
let
give
down.
my account to somebody. If you want my account, send me an email.
Hey, that's against the rules, Laura.
I'd give my
Yeah, okay.
account to somebody if I could remember what the username was.
Yeah,
I was actually
God, the
thinking,
usernames for that thing are so bad. I'm sure you guys talked about this a lot, but
yeah,
they're
I'm
so
Cat
bad.
Seeker.
Yeah, we missed you on that discussion.
Yeah, I think I'm something like Rook something or another. I don't know.
Toucan Rook.
Toucan Rook.
Toucan Sam.
I got the special Latin American name.
Oh, we see you're in Latin America. Here, we're gonna add Toucan to your name.
We're all going.
I got some. So yeah, no updates on Pottermore unfortunately yet, but feel free to contact Laura if you want her Pottermore name. Just kidding, that's against the rules. Nobody email her.
That's against the rules.
Please email me.
In news that got Ben excited, Emma Watson is pretty much set to star in Guillermo del Toro's Beauty and the Beast, a live action version. Emma Watson would of course play Beauty, Belle.
You know what's funny?
The princess.
I think she'll
actually
be perfect for that, actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Why? Because she's so French, right?
Well, oh, you mean like Belle in the Disney version was?
Character.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. It's double. Oh, okay. You got it. I got it. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, okay. I think if they're going to do something, they should do it right. They should do something definitive. It's an old French legend. They should cast a French audience for it. That's just my thought. Although, just not 3 hours ago, I watched the Beauty and the Beast episode of Once Upon a Time, which I thought was pretty cool, and that had Emily de Raven as Belle, and she is Australian. So, who knows?
So many different Bells.
So many different Bells. Do they really need a live, adaptation of...
Well, fantasy is in. I mean, and princesses, and by the way, there are 2 Beauty and the Beast television shows in the works. One for CW and one for ABC. So Beauty and the Beast is in right now. Get on that, yo. In related news, for Guillermo del Toro's film, the part of Mrs. Potts will be played by Julie Walters, which I thought was very fitting.
Didn't she voice Mrs. Potts in the Disney version? I feel like she did.
That's actually a complete joke. It's not true at all.
Oh. Well,
just thought Molly Weasley and Mrs. Potts kind of similar. Guess
that kind of went over like a lead balloon.
Okay. And finally, in the news this week, we talked about we mentioned Ultimate Editions earlier in the program, but what's better than Ultimate? Definitive. And we talked about the Harry Potter Definitive Collection. It was announced last year with the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 DVD, saying it would come out in 2012. Apparently it has a new name, the Wizards Collection, with a huge box, feature set, and price tag. This baby's going to cost you $500 retail.
Wow.
Right.
Rip off.
Amazon is offering a $150 discount. So
don't they play the movies on ABC Family all the time?
Every other weekend.
Yes.
Harry Potter weekend.
But this is the definitive collection, and in order for you to have the definitive collection, you got to pay a lot of money.
I know, but how much do you think the definitive collection is going to be worth 10 years from now?
I know.
Just as much as you have in all 8 DVDs.
Well, it comes with the theatrical versions and extended cuts of the first 2 movies. It also comes with
anyway.
5 hours of never-before-seen special features in limited and number editions. I have no idea what.
I would pay about $100, maybe $200 for just the special features discs, and then leave. Because I already have the movies. I don't need those. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you're basically paying. So all Harry Potter fans are basically just paying for this nice box and the over 5 hours of never before seen special features.
Do we really believe that they're never before seen? Like, I don't buy that.
Yeah, that is a stretch.
I don't buy that.
The only thing, David Yates specifically said that there was an outtakes reel that was going to be part of this. So there's that.
And like everything else on these DVDs, it's probably going to be 30 seconds long.
Or uploaded immediately to YouTube.
Yeah.
Thereafter, which is what I'm hoping for, because that $500 is a little steep. Also, one thing
don't listen to this show.
One thing I want.
If you want a positive review of anything, don't listen to this show.
One thing I want, and I guess I shouldn't continue saying something that's not positive, but one thing I want if I'm going to get this $500 set is, a little bit more of an analysis of the trunk that it comes in, because in the video it looks great. Like, it opens up and it's sideways and it's upside down and there's drawers that come out. But there was a box set, was it of the books? It was of the 7 hardcover books. And Amazon was selling it, and it was a big deal. And it comes in like a treasure chest, or like Harry's trunk. And unfortunately, it was made out of very cheap cardboard, and it couldn't even sustain the weight of the books, I don't think, over time. And so people who bought that found very quickly that the trunk was becoming destroyed just from gravity.
This looks to be paper. I mean, it'd be very cool if it was wood, but this looks to be paper.
I'm saying, like, if it's going to be $500, make it out of gold, you know?
It better be signed by every person that ever acted in those films for $500.
Yeah, you know, they're going to have the numbered editions, whatever that means. But it's also to include collectible memorabilia items, including concept art, a map of Hogwarts, and much more. The concept art stuff we've seen in the Ultimate Edition, so...
Or in Film Wizardry, or in, you know, Page to Screen, or in the Marauders map, or at the exhibition, or at the studio tour.
No release date yet for this product, but it is looking to come out sometime this year.
Wizards collection. Yeah. Like, that's who it's for. It's wizards.
So that is it for news, and obviously a lot of big news, so we wanted to spend the majority of the episode discussing that. But the Twitter question this week we have for everybody who follows us on twitter.com/MuggleCast. We asked you, you know, what do you expect from J.K. Rowling's new book? What do you expect it to be about, and why, and what do you hope for? Natalie Morelli said, I just hope for another series with some of her wonderful character development. Terrence Pinkston of Hogwarts Radio said, a thriller. I think it would be great to show another writing style that is something that'll keep us on the edge of our seats. Ooh, now this I like. Mitch Hull wrote, steamy romance with Fabio on the cover. Please, Joe.
Fabio?
That was also Laura Thompson's idea.
Oh.
Steamy romance. One of those great...
Hey, he's my boyfriend. Don't...
Who, Mitch?
No, Fabio.
Oh, Fabio.
God.
Okay.
There's a bit of a disconnect happening.
Christy wrote, I think it's going to be a Victorian mystery novel, just because that's what it seems like she loves. I would enjoy anything. That's interesting. Victorian.
What makes you think she loves Victorian?
What makes you think she doesn't?
Well, no, I mean, this person said it seems like she loves...
I know.
Like,
well, J.K. Rowling goes around writing things on statues, so I don't know.
That's true.
She's been known to do that.
A.C. Marr wrote, as unlikely and denied as it is, imagine if it was secretly prequel-esque. The fandom would go crazy.
No.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
Potter. Yeah.
Sorry to shatter your dreams, but not happening.
Emily Zitz wrote, I think it would be amazing and completely different, but we all hope she is a great writer, so I have high hopes. Amish Flyers 86 wrote, a grown-up Ron tires of life in Hermione's shadow, runs away to Edinburgh, where he hangs out his shingle and solves local murders. Okay. Very descriptive. Penny Lane 516 wrote, I hope it draws me in just like Potter did, but doesn't try too hard to be enticing. I hope it can stand on its own. Glee Lover 15 wrote, I don't really care. I'm just glad. I'm glad she's writing something. I hope it is totally different than each piece so we can have a new story.
Yo, Andrew, I need to go.
Emily Peanut. No, you don't.
Okay, I don't.
Emily Peanut wrote, I just hope it's really good. After Potter, she has lots of pressure for it to be amazing like Potter is. So we could go on and on with Twitter replies, but thanks everybody who follows us on Twitter, twitter.com/MuggleCast, and we always ask a question. All right, Ben, well, where are you going? At least tell us that.
I gotta go downstairs.
And?
Take care of business.
Are you cheating on us? Do you have another podcast to record?
Yeah, I do. And other things to take care of.
YokoCast?
YokoCast. Laura is meeting me downstairs in 20 minutes.
Okay.
I got Jamie Lennon flying in from England.
Lawrence. Well, thanks for joining us on our 250th episode, and we'll see you at episode 500.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That was going to be my joke. You stole it from me. I've been waiting to use that. But I love everybody. I miss everybody.
And you can follow Ben, twitter.com/Ben Shane.
Yeah, that's me.
I thought it's a good Twitter account.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Micah Tannenbaum. It's been great.
See you, Ringo.
Eric Thompson. It's been good. Laura Skull. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, goodbye.
It'll probably be another 2 years, Ben. I'll see you.
Probably. Hit me up.
On to the emails. Eric, can you read the first one from Sarah?
Yeah. First email's from Sarah, age 15. She says, so recently I've been doing a bit of research on Felix Felicis, and I noticed that it takes 6 months to brew the potion. How did Professor Slughorn in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince have all of the Felix Felicis ready if he only got hired 2 months previously? Sorry if this is a topic you guys have already discussed, but I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it. So we're talking at the beginning of Harry Potter's year 6.
Maybe he bought it somewhere, pre-brewed. I'm sure you can do that.
Yeah. Or couldn't it have been in storage in Hogwarts somewhere? I mean...
Well, can you store it like, is there like a Rubbermaid or a Tupperware?
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, another teacher could be brewing it. I mean, think of how many teachers are at Hogwarts.
That's true. I wonder also how much of that brewing process is actually like brewing. You know what I'm saying? Like, gathering the ingredients is some ingredients have to mature. So, by the time you actually throw them into a cauldron and it turns gold, I'm sure that isn't until the sort of the very end.
Laura, would you like to read the next email?
So the next one comes from Cassandra Lee, age 14, of Melbourne. And she says, "Hi, MuggleCast. I was rereading Goblet of Fire, and it got me thinking that if you can't use Muggle objects around Hogwarts because of the magic, as referenced from Hogwarts: A History, if this is true, how come they can use watches? Wouldn't it affect the magic just as electricity would? Just a thought. Love your podcast. Keep rocking."
Are the watches just a movie thing? I'm really trying to think of a book reference where they said...
Because don't they, for their 17th birthday, get some special watch?
Ooh, maybe.
Like the one Dumbledore had with the planets around the...
Well, and then there's the Weasley clock, which again, it's a clock and it's around magic. But I'm thinking
it's a magical one now.
Yeah. Well, at the movies, or in the movie, there's that giant clock tower, that pendulum, that Umbridge walks by.
I mean, couldn't the watch
stands by in the movies?
Couldn't the watches have been enchanted?
Well, I think, and with big clocks anyway, they're more mechanical than electrical, if that makes sense. So it's like gears turning. So what if the magic just makes the gears turn? Whereas so it doesn't need to be, it like replaces electricity then. Because their watches are more of a machine than, a computer wouldn't be able to work without electricity, but gears would be able to turn with magic.
Yeah, I could see how it could have been these watches were enchanted or made in the wizarding world, which would... Because, I mean, what? Do they have no clocks?
Well, yeah, I mean, how do they tell time if they don't?
Right.
Yeah. Or, I think with the books, there was always that... They were talking about, periods ending, going on to the next period or bells, or something. How would they change classes, without a timekeeping system?
Yeah, I don't know. My best guess is what I've just stated. Micah, could you read the next email from Teresa?
Next email is from Teresa, 17, of Taiwan, and she says, "Hey, MuggleCasters, I've been listening to the podcast for almost a year, and I think you guys are great. Since there isn't a lot of fans in my school, and no one that I know of who is as into the series, it's always been exciting to follow the new episodes and listen to you guys discuss Harry Potter. Here's something I couldn't quite understand, and I was hoping that you guys can answer for me. I was rereading Deathly Hallows the other day, and there's something that I find strange. On page 572 of the UK edition, Dumbledore answered Harry about the tale of the three brothers. I think it is more likely that the Peverell brothers were simply gifted, dangerous wizards who succeeded in creating those powerful objects. If it really was so, then shouldn't the Master of Death be nothing more than an empty title, simply made up by whoever did it? I guess that's what she's trying to say. Why would Dumbledore, as brilliant as he might be, believe that there truly is a Master of Death? Is there something that I've missed, or is it something that is just not fully explained?"
I thought the whole idea was that title was more of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You couldn't really obtain it without first trying to seek it, which ended up being impossible because, as Dumbledore kind of explained, anybody who went out to actually try and seek power was actually not equipped to yield it, whereas somebody like Harry, who had it thrust upon him, was actually a very good leader. So I don't think that... I think Dumbledore was right by saying that it was really just, kind of a tale based off of these three kind of very talented, dangerously talented men, but I don't think that it's actually real. I think that Dumbledore was just very enticed by the objects and what they were capable of.
Yeah, and I think, though, that we've seen wands have certain allegiances aside from the Elder Wand, right? In parts of the series, so I don't necessarily. And wasn't there that whole bit about when Harry was killed by Voldemort, or whatever you want to say happened to him? He cast that sort of same protection that his mother cast on him. So that, in part, I think aided him in his defeat
to be the master of
the Death Eaters and Voldemort.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's a bit, I don't want to say it's convoluted, but like Harry had several things going for him. There was the blood seal, his mother's sacrifice, the fact that he was the chosen one, the prophecy, and that he was wielding, over time he had each of the Deathly Hallows. Yeah, I don't know. But I always just kind of took the tale of the three brothers as being true, but then this quote from Dumbledore says that, he doesn't really think there were three brothers, or that, he didn't think they met death. He just thought they created these three different objects.
Yeah, that's how I always took it, that they had created these objects, or at the very least had come to possess them somehow. And then as they got passed down over time, much in the same way that our own kind of folklore and legends are created, people start creating stories in order to make sense of why things are the way they are.
Yeah, that's a really rich interpretation of the story, and also, yeah, I agree completely. That makes sense to me.
All right, to wrap up the show today, we have Chicken Soup Extra Spicy Dedicated Edition, titled by Eric Skoll.
Yeah, well, extra spicy, and the dedicated is in parentheses, so it's this guy's. You'll understand.
Okay, I thought this was like a Chick-fil-A reference or something. This is from.
Oh, I miss Chick-fil-A. Sorry.
Me too. I just had it like 24 hours ago. So I was waiting forever. Anyway, Matt L14 from Tampa, Florida. He writes, Dear MuggleCast, this week I've been stuck in bed at home sick for all week. It sucks, which is why I decided to go back and re-listen to all the MuggleCast episodes. I will admit that I almost gave up at the 12-hour live show.
Oh, yeah, so did we.
So did we, yeah.
But we made it to 12 hours. I think it was for like 10 minutes of that.
He continues, but it is so great listening to how great the whole experience has been. Thanks so much for keeping me from going insane in my room. I'm currently on episode 164. And then he asked a question, so we should just answer this. Why did Voldy crumble into frosted flakes in DH2? You should re-listen to episode 4.
Uh-oh. I don't get it.
Did we predict that happened in episode 4?
4 was
that would happen.
Was there an explanation
We've
there?
talked about how he fell apart, and that was just, I don't know, I think we all had differing opinions on it.
Well, he didn't fall apart, though. Not in the book.
No. Yeah, no, of course. But we're talking about it in the movie.
That's a fairly big change,
but I
if you think about it.
If it's episode 4, then that means that we made some kind of prophetic statement.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Somebody should go back and listen to it.
It's probably
Somebody
about
let
cereal.
us know.
I think it's about cereal.
Yeah, because we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I can't listen to myself.
Neither
I listen to myself all day.
Yeah.
Talk to myself. I'm very lonely. Anyway, thanks, Matt. Hope you got better. Can you believe that, guys? He's 14. You know, when we started the show, he was like, I don't even think he was born yet.
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, how many years has this been going? We started this in 2006?
Do the math. He was
5.
2005. Oh my God, 7 years.
So 7 years. So he was.
Yeah, Laura.
He was the 7-year-old.
Our 7-year is coming up at
oh my
in August.
God.
In August.
I've known you people too long.
Yeah, you
Laura,
should
like
leave and
right
go to
now.
a different country or something to get away from us. Somewhere
And that
where
doesn't work either.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it's been a very fun show, I have to say.
If you sent an email to MuggleCast@gmail and got bounced, we had some kind of a lockout issue. So I wanted to just remind everybody, please email us at MuggleCast@gmail.
Well, no, I don't think that was the problem. I think it's because the site is down, which I also want to bring up. We've been getting a lot of comments about it because people can't email in via the feedback form, so I think that's why email stopped.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if you're wondering, the site's going to be down for a little bit longer, but when it is usually up, you can go to MuggleCast.com and find all you need about the show, to download the latest episodes and whatnot. Right now, you can get episodes via MuggleNet.com.
Why don't I explain a little bit of that real quick?
Okay.
For people who are looking to get onto MuggleNet, there have been some problems the last couple of weeks with some malware on the site. We took most of the site offline so that we can try and fix the problem. and that it doesn't infect anybody's computer. So hopefully MuggleCast will be back up in the next few days in time for this episode.
What happened was I got really angry that I'm no longer part of MuggleNet, so I started installing malware on the site. You know, there was actually theories about, like, I saw some people in the comments being like, "Oh, Andrew must have done it."
I did not originate that rumor. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you did. No, I think that.
No, I didn't do it. I just paid somebody to do it.
Well.
No, this is a joke. This is
Damon. You got Damon to do it.
He's striking back finally after all these years.
Waffles.
No, it's Kieran. Oh man, the site has so many enemies. Anyway, it's been a fun 250th episode. And really a fun 250 episodes.
Gosh, we didn't even reflect.
We did a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's reflect. We got 5 minutes
We
here.
reflect like every 10 episodes.
Yeah, it's true now because they're like so far
It's the
apart.
same stuff anyways. But, you know, thank you to everybody who's been listening over the years.
And this guy, this Chicken Soup, 164 episodes in 1 week. That's actually not mathematically possible. But I don't want to.
No, well, nice going, dude. Nice going,
I don't want to call him out, but man, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's great. Podcasts are always fun to listen to. I listen to podcasts myself. Not this one, but it's because I'm on it. So really, I am listening.
And if you edit it, you really like live it like 3 times. There's no.
Yeah. Right. And, you know, and now that we have this new book from J.K. Rowling to look forward to, who knows how we can incorporate this book into MuggleCast itself in the future. So, yep. And whatever J.K. Rowling writes next. And what Pottermore puts out next. And what happens at the Wizarding World. There's just so much. There's just so much.
When's the, before the next episode comes out of MuggleCast, there will be a studio tour, right? Does that, isn't that March?
The studio tour will be open at the very end of March, and MuggleNet and Hypable will both be going to the release events. So
we'll be sure to talk about it. How about next episode we'll talk a little bit about the content of Pottermore, because who knows when it's opening to the public.
We have talked about it, haven't we?
No, we didn't talk about it because
we didn't go in depth on the content. I guess
username and password.
Very good. Laura, hope to have you on again soon. It's always lovely having you on.
Yeah, definitely.
And again, MuggleCast.com, usually when it's up, we'll have all the information you need. But in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/MuggleCast, Facebook, which is facebook.com/MuggleCast, and the fan Tumblr, which is mugglecast.tumblr.com. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
I like how
Andrew Sims.
This person just said that they're going to be listening again now that Laura and, I guess, Ben are on.
What, on Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I guess the 3 of us weren't good enough.
What do you mean listen? That person quit listening and now
they're back.
It might just be worth returning to.
So thanks, Brad.
And thanks, Laura and Ben.
Yeah.
For
bringing Brad back.
We're up 1 listener. Woohoo! Every listener matters. Anyway, I'm Andrew Sims.
I'm Eric Skull.
You can go, Laura.
No, Micah, you have way more seniority over me. Go.
I'm Micah Tannenbaum.
And I'm Laura Thompson.
Yoko Ono.
And I'm Ben Shane. It's my best Ben Shane.
And
I'm Ben Shane. And I'm Ben Shane.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time for episode 251. Goodbye.
Bye.